The morning sun over Cape Coast, Ghana, cast golden light across the narrow streets as Zara Owusu walked briskly toward St. Teresa's College, clutching a worn-out school bag to her side. The strap was nearly torn, and the fabric had faded from years of use. Still, Zara carried it with quiet pride. Her mother always said, "You don't need to look rich to walk with dignity." The school gate was already buzzing with laughter and chatter. A black SUV glided to a stop, and out stepped Vanessa Mensah, daughter of a prominent local businesswoman. Her glossy braids shimmered under the sun, and her perfume lingered in the air. 3 girls trailed behind her like shadows. "Look who's dragging her bag again," Vanessa smirked, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Our charity case has arrived." Laughter rippled through the courtyard. Zara kept her eyes down and walked past them. Her heart beat quick but her steps steady. She had learned to let their mockery roll off her like rain on stone. Inside, though, her chest burned. "Hey, Zara," called Amma, her only close friend. "Ignore them. They're just jealous you're smarter than all of them." Zara smiled faintly. "It's okay. Let them talk. I'm used to it." In class, she took her seat by the window. The room smelled faintly of chalk and polished wood. Outside, she could hear the ocean breeze carrying the cries of fishermen preparing their nets. It was a simple life, but she loved it. What no one knew, not even Amma, was that Zara wasn't who she seemed to be. Her mother had once been the only daughter of Nana Owusu, founder of Owusu Marine Industries, one of the most successful shipping companies in West Africa. But when Zara's parents died in an accident, her grandmother took her far away from that world, to raise her in humility, away from greedy relatives and reporters. Now, she lived quietly in a modest home near the old lighthouse, helping her grandmother sell handmade crafts to tourists on weekends. That afternoon, Vanessa and her friends cornered Zara by the lockers. "Zara," Vanessa said sweetly, "tell us, how much was your uniform? It looks ancient." Her friends giggled. Zara folded her arms. "Does it matter?" Vanessa shrugged. "Not really. Just wondering how long before it rips apart." She tugged at Zara's sleeve. Zara gently pulled her arm back. "Don't touch me, Vanessa." "Oh, big words for a poor girl." Amma rushed over. "Leave her alone." But Vanessa only laughed and walked away, heels clicking sharply. "We're just having fun, darling. Don't be so sensitive." The day dragged on. By the time classes ended, Zara's eyes stung with exhaustion. As she stepped outside, she saw something that made her pause. A sleek black car parked by the school gate. 2 men in formal suits stood beside it, scanning the crowd. One of them held a file with the school's logo. "Excuse me," he said when he spotted her. "Are you Miss Zara Owusu?" Her heart jumped. "Yes, why?" "We've been asked to deliver this letter to you," the man replied. "It's from Owusu Holdings. It concerns your late mother." Vanessa, who had been walking by, froze mid-step. Her friends stared. "Wait, Owusu? As in the Owusu family?" Zara took the letter, her hands trembling. She didn't know what it meant, but deep down, something stirred, a truth that had been waiting to rise. That night, she sat under the dim bulb in her grandmother's living room, reading the elegant letterhead. The message was short. "Dear Miss Zara Owusu, the board of Owusu Holdings requests your presence for an important family matter. Signed Esi Owusu, Managing Director." Her grandmother sighed softly. "I knew this day would come," she said. "Your mother's name couldn't stay hidden forever." Zara looked up. "Grandma, what if they want me back?" Her grandmother took her hand. "Then go. But remember, my child, wealth doesn't make you better than others. What makes you special is your heart." Zara nodded, holding the letter close. Outside, the sea wind carried the distant echo of laughter from her classmates. But this time, she didn't feel hurt. She felt something new, power. Tomorrow, the poor girl, they mocked, would begin to uncover the truth about who she really was. The following morning, Zara Owusu woke up before dawn to the rhythm of crashing waves outside her window. The salty scent of the Atlantic drifted into her small coastal home. She had barely slept. The letter from Owusu Holdings lay folded neatly under her pillow, its message replaying in her mind over and over. Her grandmother was already in the kitchen stirring porridge. "Eat something, my child," she said gently. You'll need strength for today. Zara nodded, though her stomach fluttered with nerves. Grandma, what if they don't want me? What if they just want to use me? The old woman smiled, her wrinkled face glowing with wisdom. Zara, you carry your mother's grace. No one can use what shines from within. By 8 a.m., a sleek black Range Rover pulled up in front of their little house. Two women stepped out, both dressed in smart suits. One introduced herself as Madame Acua, the personal assistant to ESI Owusu, managing director of Owusu Holdings. Miss Zara, we're here to escort you to the family meeting in Accra, she said politely. Zara hugged her grandmother tightly before leaving. The journey from Cape Coast to Accra took hours, but her thoughts traveled faster. Memories of her mother teaching her to swim, her father's deep laugh, her grandmother's quiet sacrifices. When they arrived at the company's headquarters, a tall glass building overlooking the city, Zara was speechless. Her reflection shimmered on the spotless windows, a reminder of how far she'd come. Inside, everything smelled of polished floors and success. Employees whispered as she walked past, curious about the young girl escorted by the director's assistant. Finally, they entered a large office with a panoramic view of Accra. Behind the desk sat ESI Owusu, Zara's aunt, elegant, composed, and intimidating. Zara, she said softly, rising to embrace her. You've grown into your mother's image. Zara felt emotion choke her throat. Auntie ESI, why now? Her aunt sighed. We kept our distance to protect you. After your parents' death, there were threats, greedy relatives, inheritance disputes. But the board and I decided it's time you claim your rightful place as an Owusu. Zara's eyes widened. My rightful place? ESI smiled gently. You are the next heir of Owusu Holdings. Your mother's shares belong to you. Zara's world spun. The girl who'd been mocked for wearing a torn bag was suddenly being told she was part of a business empire worth millions. But I'm just a student, Zara whispered. I don't know anything about business. That's why we'll teach you, ESI replied. You'll start learning slowly. But I want you to keep attending your school. No one must know who you are yet, not until you're ready. Zara nodded slowly, realizing the weight of what she now carried. That afternoon, ESI's driver took her back to Cape Coast. The journey home felt surreal. When she arrived, the neighborhood kids ran around her as usual, shouting her name. Nothing had changed, yet everything had. At school the next morning, Vanessa and her friends were already gossiping. Did you hear? One whispered. Those fancy cars came to Zara's house yesterday. Maybe she's secretly dating some rich man. Vanessa laughed. Please. Zara? She probably works as someone's housemaid. Who would bother with her? Zara walked past them without a word. For once she didn't feel small. She had no need to explain herself. Later that day, during economics class, the teacher announced a special project. Each student would pitch a community business idea, and the top proposal would get sponsorship from a real investor. The class buzzed with excitement. Zara's mind immediately began to race. Her grandmother's craft shop. The handmade jewelry. What if she could help other women like her grandmother sell their crafts across Ghana? That night, she drafted her idea in her notebook. The Palm Project. Empowering rural women through art, trade, and technology. When she finished, she whispered to herself, let them laugh. I'll show them who I really am. Not with words, but with results. And from the balcony of her small home, Zara gazed at the stars, unaware that destiny was already moving, quietly preparing her for a revelation that would soon shake the entire school. The morning air in Cape Coast smelled of salt and promise. The waves hummed softly in the distance as Zara Owusu made her way to St. Teresa's College. Her mind wasn't on the gossip that usually trailed behind her. It was on the presentation she had been preparing for weeks. The school's big event, the Young Entrepreneurs Exhibition, was just 2 days away. Each student would pitch a project to a panel of investors, and one lucky winner would receive funding to make their idea a reality. To everyone else, it was just another school competition. But for Zara, it was something more. It was her chance to prove, to herself, to her classmates, and maybe even to her late parents, that she was more than just the poor girl with the torn bag. When she reached her classroom, The usual chatter died down slightly. Vanessa sat near the window, surrounded by her clique, showing off her new phone. "It's the latest model from France," she bragged. "Daddy brought it back from his business trip." Alma nudged Zara and whispered, "She's been talking about that phone since yesterday. I think she sleeps with it." Zara giggled softly. "Let her. I'm just focused on my project." Vanessa's ears perked up. "Oh right, the big scholarship girls project. Tell us, Zara, are you building a lemonade stand or maybe sewing class for poor people?" Laughter erupted. Zara looked up calmly. "Something like that. Except mine might actually change lives." For a moment, Vanessa was silent, and that silence was louder than any insult. During lunch break, Zara sat under the mango tree with Amma, flipping through her notes. Her idea, the Palm Project, was bold, creating a digital platform to connect rural women artisans with city buyers, allowing them to sell handmade crafts and earn a fair income. Amma leaned over. "Zara, this is brilliant. You could really win this." Zara smiled. "It's not about winning. It's about giving back. My grandmother has worked her whole life making baskets, but she never had a chance to sell them outside the market. Maybe this project can change that." Amma nodded. "You're different, Zara. You don't even realize how special you are." Before Zara could reply, a familiar voice cut through the air. Well, look who's pretending to be the next tech genius." It was Vanessa again, flanked by her ever-loyal followers. "I'm sure the judges will love your peasant art project." Zara didn't look up this time. "We'll see whose idea makes a difference, Vanessa." Vanessa smirked. "Oh, don't worry. You'll see all right." There was a dangerous gleam in her eyes, one that promised trouble. That night, Zara stayed up late working on her slides. Her aunt Esi Owusu had agreed to send her some data and statistics from Owusu Holdings to help strengthen her presentation. When the email arrived, Zara gasped. It contained reports, charts, and photos of successful women-led craft cooperatives, all funded by her family's foundation. Esi had written a short note. "You're part of something bigger than you know. Go make us proud, Zara." The words filled her with renewed fire. She didn't tell anyone about her family connection. It wasn't the right time yet. She wanted her success to speak before her surname did. By midnight, her presentation was perfect, clean, powerful, and full of heart. The day of the exhibition arrived. The school hall was decorated with banners, project booths, and colorful displays. Parents, teachers, and invited guests filled the seats. Among them were local investors, a few city business reps, and unknown to most, Madame Esi Owusu, sitting quietly at the back, wearing sunglasses. Zara had no idea her aunt had come to watch. When Vanessa took the stage, she dazzled the audience with a flashy presentation called Elite Exchange, an app for luxury fashion trading. The judges clapped politely, impressed by her delivery, though her concept was more about glamour than impact. Then it was Zara's turn. She walked slowly to the stage, her worn shoes echoing on the wooden floor. The projector flickered to life, displaying the title, The Palm Project, Empowering Women Through Art and Trade. Zara took a deep breath and began, her voice clear and calm. Every day, thousands of women in rural Ghana weave baskets, carve jewelry, and craft art that tells the story of our culture. But most of them never earn enough to feed their families. What if we could change that? Not with charity, but with opportunity. The audience leaned in. Her slides showed real faces, women smiling beside their crafts, children in school uniforms. The Palm Project connects artisans to customers through a digital marketplace. It's built on fairness, transparency, and pride in our African heritage. When she finished, the hall erupted in applause. Even the judges stood to shake her hand. Vanessa sat frozen, her face pale. Later, as the results were announced, Zara's heart pounded. The winner of this year's Young Entrepreneurs Exhibition, the principal declared, is Zara Owusu. Cheers filled the hall. Amma hugged her tightly. Vanessa forced a smile, clapping slowly. "Well, congratulations," she muttered. But before the excitement could die down, one of the investors, a tall woman in a blue suit, approached the stage. She removed her sunglasses, revealing herself. "Miss Zara Owusu," she said warmly. I'm proud to see your mother's vision living on in you. Gasps rippled through the room. Wait, someone whispered. Did she say Owusu? As in Owusu Holdings? Vanessa's eyes widened in shock. No way. Zara turned to her aunt, speechless. Auntie Esai. Esai smiled. You've earned this moment, my dear. You didn't need your family name to shine. You did it with your heart. The principal blinked, realizing the weight of what had just happened. Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to have the managing director of Owusu Holdings here today, and it seems the winner of our competition is her niece. The audience erupted in applause again, louder, prouder, unstoppable. Vanessa quietly lowered her head, unable to meet Zara's eyes. That evening, as the sun dipped behind the waves, Zara and her grandmother sat on their porch. The golden light kissed Zara's face as she held the trophy close. Grandma, she said softly. They finally know the truth. Her grandmother chuckled. The truth was always there, my child. They just had to open their eyes to see it. The wind rustled the palm trees, carrying laughter and ocean spray. For the first time, Zara felt free, not just as an heiress, but as a girl who had earned her own voice in the world. If you loved this powerful reveal, hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell icon. The next morning, St. Teresa's College was buzzing like a hive. Everywhere Zara walked, heads turned. Her name was on every student's lips. Did you see her aunt yesterday? That woman's car alone could buy this whole school. I heard she's the heir to Owusu Holdings. I can't believe we were calling her poor. Zara kept her head high as she walked through the crowd, her calm composure unshaken. But inside her heart was a storm of emotions, disbelief, pride, and a tinge of sadness. She hadn't asked for fame. She had only wanted respect. Amma rushed to her side, grinning from ear to ear. Girl, you're trending on campus gossip chat already. Someone even called you Princess Owusu. Zara laughed softly. Let them say what they want. I'm still just Zara. But that wasn't how the rest of the school saw it. Overnight, she'd become untouchable. The same students who ignored her now wanted to sit beside her, borrow her notes, or ask about her luxury life. Even some teachers treated her differently, with cautious politeness. All except one, Mr. Boateng, her economics teacher. He greeted her the same as always. Good morning, Miss Owusu. You've set quite the example for this school. Keep your humility. Zara nodded, smiling. I'll try, sir. Meanwhile, Vanessa Mensah was having the worst day of her life. Her once loyal followers now whispered behind her back. During lunch, she overheard them gossiping. Vanessa used to call Zara poor. Can you imagine? Serves her right. Zara's richer than all of us combined. She embarrassed herself big time. Vanessa clenched her jaw, pretending not to hear. But the word stung. She built her entire popularity on being superior. Richer, prettier, more important. Now that illusion had shattered. For the first time, she understood what humiliation felt like. After school, she sat alone in the courtyard, scrolling through social media posts filled with pictures of Zara's win. Each photo was a reminder that she had lost, not just the competition, but her reputation. The next few weeks brought more changes. Owusu Holdings formally announced Zara as their Youth Innovation Ambassador. The story made it to the local newspaper, and soon, the principal organized a school assembly to honor her. The courtyard filled with applause as Zara stood on stage beside her aunt, Esai Owusu, and the school administrators. Cameras flashed, reporters took notes. Miss Zara Owusu, the principal said proudly, has shown that true worth is measured not by wealth, but by wisdom, creativity, and heart. Zara bowed slightly, her eyes glancing toward the crowd. Vanessa stood in the back, her arms crossed, her face pale. When the applause died down, Zara took the microphone. Her voice was calm but full of purpose. A few months ago, some people laughed at me because I looked poor. They judged my clothes and my bag, not my mind or my heart. But I learned something powerful. Your value doesn't come from what people see. It comes from who you are when no one is watching. The audience went silent. So, to anyone who's ever been mocked, ignored, or made to feel small, don't let it break you. Let it build you. The courtyard erupted in cheers. Even teachers wiped their eyes. Zara smiled and handed the microphone back. ESI looked at her with pride. Her niece had not only reclaimed her name, but had done it with grace. After the ceremony, as the crowd dispersed, Zara walked toward the gate. To her surprise, Vanessa was waiting there. For once, the girl looked small. Her posture slouched, her eyes downcast. "Zara," she said quietly. "Can I talk to you?" Zara hesitated. "Sure." Vanessa took a shaky breath. "I just wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything. For how I treated you." Zara studied her face. There was no makeup this time, no pride. Just honesty. "You really hurt me, Vanessa," Zara said softly. "You made me doubt myself. But I forgive you." Vanessa blinked. "You do?" "Yes. Because holding on to anger doesn't heal anything. But I hope you've learned something." Vanessa nodded slowly. "I have. More than you know." They stood there in silence for a moment, the ocean wind brushing their faces. "Good luck with your future," Zara said finally, then walked away. Vanessa watched her go, humbled, yet oddly relieved. For the first time, she saw what true strength looked like. Over the next few weeks, Zara's life blossomed. Her project gained sponsorship from major investors, and the Palm Project launched as a small pilot program in nearby villages. Her weekends were now spent traveling with her aunt to visit artisans, meeting women who thanked her for giving them hope. She still attended school, still carried her old bag sometimes, just to remind herself where she came from. Alma teased her once, saying, "You could buy 100 of those bags now, you know." Zara smiled. "Maybe. But this one reminds me of who I used to be, and who I'll never stop being." Her humility touched everyone around her, even Vanessa, who slowly began volunteering for Zara's school outreach club. It wasn't easy at first, but Zara accepted her, because she believed in second chances. One quiet evening, Zara sat on her balcony overlooking the sea. Her grandmother sat beside her, knitting with peaceful hands. "Grandma," Zara said softly, "do you think Mama would be proud of me?" Her grandmother looked at her lovingly. She would be more than proud. She'd see a young woman who turned pain into purpose. Zara smiled. "I don't feel like a rich girl. I just feels grateful." The old woman nodded. "And that's what makes you truly rich." As the waves crashed softly below, Zara thought about everything that had happened. The bullying, the shame, the revelation, the redemption. She realized something profound. Her journey wasn't just about proving the bullies wrong. It was about discovering her own light, the kind that didn't need money or status to shine. If Zara's grace and forgiveness moved your heart, take a moment to like this story, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. The sound of waves brushed softly against the shore outside Cape Coast, where Zara Owusu stood on a small wooden stage, holding a microphone. A colorful banner behind her read, "The Palm Project, Empowering Women Through Art and Trade." It had been 6 months since the school exhibition that changed her life. Now the initiative that had started as a simple school project had grown into a thriving network of over 200 artisans across Ghana. Women weaving baskets, carving wood, making jewelry, and earning steady income for the first time in their lives. The small courtyard was full. Students, teachers, government representatives, and even local media had gathered. St. Teresa's College had never seen anything like it. As Zara looked out at the sea of faces, she saw pride, hope, and something else, respect. Her aunt, Esi Owusu, sat in the front row beside her grandmother, both beaming. Alma waved from the crowd, her eyes glistening. Even Vanessa Mensah was there, seated quietly in the third row, hands clasped together. Zara took a deep breath and began. "When I first stood on this stage months ago, I was just a girl with a dream, and a torn school bag," she said with a gentle laugh. The crowd chuckled warmly. But dreams, no matter how small, can grow when they are rooted in purpose. She turned toward the group of women artisans who sat near the front. These women are the true heroes. They've proven that art and culture are not just hobbies, they're livelihoods. They've shown that when we empower one woman, we strengthen an entire community. The applause was thunderous. ESI leaned over to her mother, Zara's grandmother, and whispered, "She has her mother's voice. Graceful but strong." The old woman smiled. "And her father's heart." After the event, reporters crowded around Zara, asking questions about her next steps. We plan to expand the Palm Project across West Africa, Zara explained. But more importantly, we want to build a digital platform that connects African creativity with the world. One journalist asked, "You're very young for such responsibility. How do you handle it?" Zara smiled modestly. "By remembering where I came from. Success means nothing if you forget the hands that lifted you up." The crowd applauded again. Later that afternoon, after the guests had left, Zara walked through the school courtyard one last time before heading home. The air was golden with sunset, and students lingered, laughing and taking pictures. As she reached the gate, she heard a familiar voice behind her. "Zara?" It was Vanessa. She approached slowly, her usual confidence replaced by humility. Zara turned to face her, smiling softly. "Hey, Vanessa. I wanted to say thank you," Vanessa began. "Not just for forgiving me, but for inspiring me. I volunteered with your project last week. It felt good to help." Zara's eyes brightened. "You did?" Vanessa nodded shyly. "Yeah. I guess I finally realized that being rich isn't about having more than others. It's about using what you have to lift people up." Zara smiled. "That's exactly it." The two girls stood in silence for a moment, watching the sunset bathe the campus in gold. The tension that once existed between them had melted away, replaced by mutual respect. Vanessa sighed. "You know, I used to think you were weak, but you're the strongest person I know." Zara chuckled. When she finished, the hall exploded with applause. Her aunt rose, clapping proudly. Even the chairman of the company wiped away a tear. Later that evening, Zara stood alone on the hotel balcony, overlooking the glittering city lights of Accra. She held her mother's old necklace in her hand, a simple gold chain she always wore when she needed courage. Her grandmother's words echoed in her mind. "Wealth doesn't make you special. What makes you special is how you use it." Zara smiled, whispering to the stars, "Mama, Papa, I made it. But I made it my way." She knew her journey wasn't over. It was just beginning. The Palm Project would grow, touching more lives, and she would continue to walk with grace, never forgetting the girl who once carried a torn bag to school. Meanwhile, back at St. Teresa's, Vanessa gathered a group of younger students near the school fountain. "Let me tell you a story," she began. "About a girl everyone laughed at, until they found out she was a princess all along." The younger students leaned in wide-eyed. Vanessa smiled. "But the real lesson isn't that she was rich. It's that she was kind, even when no one else was. That's what makes her a queen." Weeks later, the school principal called Zara. "We'd like to name our new computer lab the Zara Owusu Innovation Center," he said. "You've changed this school forever." Zara was speechless. "Thank you, sir. I'll keep earning that name." As the sun set over Cape Coast once again, Zara and her grandmother sat together on their porch. The sound of the sea rolled softly in the background. "Grandma," Zara said, "I used to think being bullied was the worst thing that ever happened to me." Her grandmother smiled knowingly. "And now?" Zara looked out toward the horizon. "Now I think it was the beginning of everything good." The old woman nodded. "That's because storms don't destroy strong trees, my dear. They only show which roots run deep." The two of them laughed quietly, the golden light fading into the calm blue of evening. And just like that, the girl they once mocked had become a beacon, a story, a symbol of grace. If you were inspired by Zara's journey from rejection to recognition, don't forget to Red Heart this story, subscribe for more emotional and powerful African stories, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss what comes next. Comment below. True wealth comes from the heart. Globe showing Europe Africa sparkles.